All right. Not sure how much time I'll have on here because my data is pretty full on my phone. Just want to jump on here and have a brief discussion on my way to workout. I in one of the last posts, I mentioned that I'll be starting the conversation concerning the relationship or relationships between men and women. And hopefully this doesn't hit the mic too much. Here, let me move this. And I think it's very important to start having these discussions. I actually tried it out today talking to a fellow coworker, the discussion of relationships. We had a very thought-provoking and engaging interaction. He was sharing with me, some of the issues in his relationship and what he perceives as a lack of respect from his significant other, and the balance of happiness in contrast with obligation and duty and marriage or relationship, and it was just very interesting, and it was very nice to hear someone else's take involving this matter. And I'll give you some of the key takeaways. And again, I want to discuss this at length because I contend that the true travesty here is the disinformation and misinformation that's being perpetrated to the masses, both men and women. There is a gross misunderstanding of what is actually happening, what is taking place, and regarding the true thoughts behind particular areas of relationships between men and women. And until we work this out and hash this out, we're just going to have an endless cycle of battle of the sexes, leading us nowhere, leading us absolutely nowhere. So we need to square this away. We need to figure this out. The only way that's going to happen is if we start to have the discussion and talk about it. And so some of the viewpoints may be a bit drastic, but I'll say this, that all change is initially perceived as drastic. Okay? What comes to mind immediately is the digital television conversion that we were all, forced into. And I remember myself being like, they're not going to force me to get digital television. I'm not going to get the digital TV box and converter box and all that kind of stuff. I'm not going to do this and I'm not going to do that. It was a drastic change. It was a culture shock. We were used to our, analog television or whatever, our broadcast or whatever it would be, over antenna. We were used to that. And it was perceived that anything other than what we were used to is just a means to control or invade on our privacy, which that might be true, but don't you have a television, a digital television today? Don't you have a converter box? Don't you have digital television, cable television, et cetera, today? No matter how you felt about it at the time. Someone felt that same way about the cell phone. Somebody felt that same way about computers and the internet. Somebody, you see what I'm saying? So, um, I said all that to say that the introduction or proposition in these talks, yes, they might be a culture shock. They may be something that you are not used to. The ideas that are shared, might rub you the wrong way. They might make you cringe a little bit. Like, what? Like, oh, never. You know what I'm saying? But I want you to remember and recall that the laws and rules and the social norms and mores that we practice today at one point in time was like shock and awe. Like, ain't no freaking way. Think of LGBTQ. Remember, that was at one point illegal. It was unlawful. In fact, they put people to death that practice, same-sex practices or what have you. So, but that's not the case today, is it? And think of all the other things. Think of prohibition. Now you can stop anywhere you want to and enjoy a beer or liquor or whatever, right? At one point in time, that was unlawful, illegal. All right, you were in prison, you were jailed for it. Look at marijuana in a lot of states now. Okay, so you get the point. So don't jump to a pessimistic conclusion right away. Just hear me out and hear, the people that hear them out. Nobody says you got to do anything. These are just things. We just need to start talking again. Okay? That's what's most important. All right? Because what you believed yesterday is probably not the same thing you believe today, is my point. All right? So with that being said, towards the end of the discussion, I mentioned to this individual, I said, if men and women can just sit down and just be honest with each other. I don't care whether it's a dating scenario. I don't care whether it's a civil union, aka marriage. I don't care what it is. We should be able to talk about it. Okay? If a husband or a wife, either or, I'm not taking sides. This is an unbiased conversation, all right? Because I legitimately want to get to the nuts and bolts and get to the bottom of a solution, right? So if either party is unhappy, all right, in their current predicament, then all that is transpiring day to day is that there's a facade that is being put on for whom? For the public, for the in-laws, for your parents, for your children. There's just a facade being put on. All the while and underneath, you're unhappy. Did this thing cut off on me? No, it's still going. All the while you're unhappy. So what is the point? What is the point? And secondly, why can't you voice what it is specifically and honestly that makes you unhappy? And thirdly, once you do manifest that, or once you do discuss that, shouldn't the other party, right, for whom the complaint is lodged, shouldn't they be willing to either acclimate or accommodate, I should say, or vacate? Because you legitimately care about someone, right? That's what you're claiming, that you care about me. You legitimately love me, right? You're willing to sacrifice for me. You're willing to do all this and that. And you tell other people, oh, I love that woman, or I love that man. And here yet this man or this woman is saying and crying out and saying, I am unhappy. And if they come and tell you why they're unhappy, you're not going to do anything about it. So How are you going to keep telling me you love me, but when I voice to you my disdain or displeasure about a particular thing that you do or say or, don't do, no accountability, no responsibility, nothing changes, right? So, no, you don't really love me. Love is sacrifice, right? Selfless acts of sacrifice. That's love. So, no. And then, but you want me to stay in the marriage, you want me to stay in the relationship, but we're not going anywhere with it because you are thinking your opinion is that I'm wrong, and my opinion is that I'm unhappy with being with you in the state that we are in. So then what is the point? What is the point? Is the point to just be a glutton for punishment? Is the point just to stay in it as long as you can to show how thick your skin is for the next 10 years, 15 years? What is the point? So, alternatively, consider this. What if I can legitimately approach a young lady that I'm interested in and I tell her, hey, I find you attractive. I don't really know you. I find you attractive, though. Hence, I'm here having a discussion with you. I'm here willing to have a discussion with you, right? I'm jumping out without a parachute. I don't know you from Adam, but I find you attractive. Now, here's the thing. I'm seeing someone at this particular point in time. Now, if I was head over heels and lost in love with the individual that I am seeing, I probably wouldn't need to be approaching you. So I'm just putting it out there. There's my situation, and I'm being forthright and truthful with you. Okay? Now, are you interested in me? Do you find me at least attractive? If the answer to that is yes, all right. And next, if you got an issue with me being with somebody else, I'm letting you know that I'm with somebody else, so there's nothing hidden from you. However, I am not happy. I am not happy. Okay? I am in it for whatever reason, because we got kids. I'm in it because, we share an apartment together and I haven't breached the lease. I don't want to breach the lease. Okay? But today, right now, in this space and time, I am not happy. All right? And everything in me is looking for something external to my current relationship, because it is natural for humans to persevere. It is natural for us to be survivalists. It is natural, right? Self-preservation is natural. That's one thing that we are exceptional. We are exceptional at. We are excellent at is survival. Okay? And so my survival instincts, right? Because I want to have a certain quality of life, have pointed you out to me. And you make me alive again. You make me feel alive again. I don't know you yet. I would like to get to know you. You see what I'm saying? And that is purely what this is. I don't know. You might not work out. You might not be what I thought, what I envision you as. That is quite possible. But I'm willing to take that chance because something in me, the law of attraction, whatever it might be, you do something to me. Right? Now, what's wrong with that? Of course, it's going to make the girl in the relationship that I'm currently in, of course it's going to make her feel some sort of way. But we are human nonetheless. We grow. We change. Right? We like variety. We're humans. And we are survivalists. Have you ever been in a relationship where you feel like the life is being sucked out of you? You feel like you're dying. You might as well be dead. Your quality of life is so low. Who said that we have to stay that way? Who said that? Who said that we owe anybody that much of our life force? A civil union? A contract with the state? And so the rest of the people in society looking from the outside and looking inward are going to be saying things like, well, you have children, um, or you're just messy, or you're not a real man. I'm not a real man because why? Because you couldn't stick in there and just suffer through it. So you're not a real man. A real man would stick in there and suffer through it. What if we live that way towards everything? Are we okay? Well, then live that way in every scenario. Live that way in every scenario. No, don't change when you perceive that something wasn't what you thought it was. Nope. Stay in there and suffer through it. Does that seem about right? Whatever, because nobody's going to do that. If you get caught up in a snare or a trap, or you get your finger caught in the door, you get, I don't know, any scenario that you want to use, any kind of inflicted discomfort or pain, you're going to look for a way to change it. And just because I got into the scenario, the situation, I stayed in it for 5 years or whatever, that's probably because I gave it an opportunity. I gave it a chance. That's another part of the human condition. That's what we do. We try things out. You know, we might try the piano and take lessons for a year or two. Ultimately, we just say, that's not my instrument, or it ain't what I thought it was going to be. But no, what are we supposed to do? What are you going to tell us? You're going to tell us, nope, you suffer through that, you stay in that, you keep working at it and keep working at it and keep working at it. Well, there comes a point in time where I'm like, maybe the piano wasn't my instrument. Maybe basketball wasn't my sport. Maybe volleyball wasn't my sport. It works like that in every other area of life except when you sign a civil contract or get in a relationship with somebody and everybody else on the outside wants to chime in with their opinions about it. Your happiness, your quality of life be damned. No, it's going to be, women standing up for women against the man who is perceived as being a dog or whatever because he called it quits because he's not happy. But wait, he's a symbol of strength. He's supposed to always be happy. He's supposed to just deal with it, and vice versa. You know, then you got the in-laws or the mothers of the woman who's saying you need to stay with them and you need to stick in it. Everything's not going to be perfect. Nobody has no man is perfect, etc., etc. You just got to give him an opportunity and a chance. Meanwhile, he whooping you up and down the stairway, just treating you like crap, calling you all out your name. And he out there with some other girl anyways all the time. He don't even want to be with you. Right? So I want to keep it unbiased. I don't want to, be a one side, pit one side against another. I want to be straight up the middle because these are things we need to really start talking about. We need to really start considering. Who said you had to stick in it and stay miserable? Who said that? Who said that? What about quality of life? Slavery is over. Slavery was abolished in 1865, right? 13th Amendment. So why are women still enslaved in marriage, by marriage? Why are men still enslaved in marriage and by marriage? Oh, they're not enslaved. They're doing the honorable and legit thing by sticking in it, no matter what, till death do us part. Really, till death. I wonder who came up with that. Anybody ever asked that question? You think those vows or that particular section of the vows just existed for, you know, 900,000 years or something? You think that just was don't you know that some man or woman, but more than likely a man, a king, came up with that? Oh, I know you were told that God came up with that. Right. Because that's what it says in the Bible in 2nd Matthew chapter 49, verse 100. No, some man came up with it. Till death do ye part. No, that's not going to fly. That's not going to happen. Because if someone is doing harm to my daughter and she is married to them, I'm going to encourage her to leave. Right? Uh-huh. Yeah, I'm going to. No, I'm not going to tell her this. You just stick in there because you're doing the honorable thing. Nah. No. Because there's many more men out there that you can probably take your chances with and probably do better off. Possibly. Right? Same thing for men as it goes. The same goes for women. So I don't know. I'm interested. I really want to hear what you have to say. I really do. I really do. But we need to start having this discussion. We need to start having this discussion. This is more important today than it has ever been. All right. We need to get the community, bring the community back together. We need to make the people more influential on the happenings, in the community. We need to get the people active again, thinking, rational analysis, speaking up again, right? Building healthy relationships for real, not on paper, not statutory relationships. I'm talking about real legitimate. You want to know why men will now stand by and videotape a woman getting abused or beat up or whatever like that? Because they have no sense of loyalty any longer. Because why? Because it's not my job. It's the police's job. Government. It's the government's job to step in and be the hero. They didn't used to be that way. It didn't used to be that way. And I dare say that women didn't stand there and allow another woman to beat up on a man either, or to downgrade a man or disrespect a man. I believe that women probably stood up against that themselves. You know, but again, until we start having these discussions, until we start talking about this and being honest about that, put this stuff out there and deal with it. Stop being wimpy. Nothing about America was ever supposed to be wimpy. We just became wimps now, man. These are things we need to talk about. Stop hiding behind the civil contract and the civil union. You show me somebody who's been married for 30, 40, 50 years, and I'll show you people who learn how to hide their issues from the public, basically. And I'm not saying that in any relationship there won't be issues, there won't be problems. What I'm saying is The marriage aspect, the civil contract, I believe, has done more damage to healthy relationships than anything. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Those heavy expectations. Once I got that ring on it, if you like it, then you should have put a ring on it. We should have known something was wrong when Beyonce started singing that song, because that's just all Hollywood. Look at what's going on in Hollywood now. If you like it, then you should have put a ring on it. If you like it, ring on it. Literally, it's like she's taunting and teasing you. Hey, if you if you're living your life in accordance with Hollywood, or following along with the mantra and the narrative of Hollywood, that should be every indication right there that something is wrong. You might want to go the opposite way. Aren't we knowing that now? Aren't we learning that? Haven't we learned that by now? If they're glorifying marriage and the marriage union and all that kind of stuff, but look at Hollywood and look what Hollywood is. Huh? You might want to rethink this. That's all I'm saying. Hey, I'm going to say it because I'm not afraid to talk about these things. I'm not. And again, yeah, this is going to rub the opposite way of the cat's, what do they call it? Roughing the cat, dander, or whatever. I don't know. rubbing the cat the wrong way. I don't know. I forget what it is. Anyhow, I mean, for real, y'all, for real. At least let's just talk about it, for goodness sake. And I will say this in closing. I seem to recall that there's a startling statistic of marriages, especially in church. Who has the highest divorce rates? Check on that. Fact check that for me. Because I seem to believe it was the church. I seem to remember it was the church having the highest divorce rate. But also, you may notice, and I've heard many people say this, that the relationship was going fine until we got married. Why might that be? I know you heard that. Why might that be? You were fine. Everything was legit. Everything was legitimate. You guys were. It was about you too. It was about enjoying life together, going on vacation together, you know, hiking together. It was all about that. And then you got married. No, then you started to plan to get married. And all of a sudden, it became about all the glitz and glamour based upon the expectations of the American dream. Then it was a $10,000 cake. Oh, because why? Because a $100 cake don't taste just as good? Then it became about having the best scenery and props during the wedding. Then it became how many tables you're going to need. Then it became the majesty, of the gown, of the gown and the tuxedos. Then it became, well, I thought I was going to be the best man. Oh no, what is all of that? Nothing more than Hollywood. Trying to live through Hollywood, something you've seen on TV or on a movie or on Disney. Every girl wants to be a princess. Where do you think you got that idea from? I'm just saying. Until we start having these discussions and get this stuff right, we're going to continue to suffer. And you're going to have to continually put on a facade that everything is okay when you know doggone well it's not. And then your attitude is going to spill out onto your children. Your attitude is going to spill out into the world, onto your coworkers, and everybody else you come in contact with that knows that you're not happy. And they always asking you, what's wrong? And you be like, nothing. Who taught you to cover that up? Is that just the right thing to do? Because you should feel proud because you have taken part in the normalcy, the norms of society that say pen and paper, you're now locked into a contract for the rest of your life till death do you part. That's a long time to be with somebody that you hardly know after even 5 years, after 10 years. Then all that shit starts creeping out. Excuse my language. Then all this stuff starts creeping out. Huh? Starts creeping out then, don't it? I got you now. See? That's what's going on. I got you now. You ain't going nowhere. And if you do, I'm going to shame you. You have no sense of morals. God don't like divorce. All of those messages of condemnation that make you stick in there. Yeah. Anyhow, 31 minutes. I see these will not be easy ones to cut off at 15. But if they help somebody, then I'm doing what I believe I'm called to do. And I covet your comments. Please put them in the comments section. Let's talk about this. Let's start having this discussion. I'm going to. I think this is. What time it is right now. These discussions. I think it is the time. I think. I think that, and I know that. In contemplation of where we are at in this paradigm at this particular point in time, there is a reason that the powers that be are keeping us engaged in alien abductions and disclosures and wars and rumors of wars and all kinds of other things. They're pulling out the stops. All bets are off. They're just going at it, going to town. Politics, elections coming up. What else? What else? Huh? What else? Diseases, cicadas now, like all kinds. They're pulling out all the stops. So we are more divided than we ever have been. And it's getting so much worse. Why? Because we are becoming so much more impersonal than we have ever been. Meaning, electronics now are taking over. You talking about falling in love with the machine? That's what we're doing. We're falling in love with the machine. Like the scripture says, men will become lovers of themselves. All we're doing is taking selfies. Now we're on TikTok, and all we're doing is videoing ourselves and share and putting our opinions out there to the world, and doing all kinds of things like that. And that's all we're doing now. That's what people aspire to do. I'm not necessarily speaking against it. I'm just, highlighting the paradigm. But we're not really growing closer together. The human touch is diminishing, where we're actually contacting each other. How many people even have phone conversations anymore? So this is a problem. This is a problem. This is a problem. And I hope that we start to realize it as a problem so that we can start to do something about it. Let's start talking again. Let's start having these discussions again. Ladies, it's not going to get easier if we don't do something. Yes, the population or the availability of men, quality men, All right, better start talking. We'll continue this conversation. Got to get in here and work out. I appreciate you for tuning in. Hey, you might not agree, and that's okay. I welcome your conversation as well, because that's part of a discussion. All right, we got to have the discussion. We got to start talking again. All right, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. We ain't gonna ostracize nobody or put you down for your opinion. Let's just start talking about it. Okay, that's the least we could do. We are not. Lastly, we are not at we being men. We are not. Um, we are not at you ladies like you think we are. You're made to believe we are, that we don't respect you the way you want to be respected, etc., etc. And I don't believe that the women are either. I think that uh, we're being indoctrinated. We're being turned against each other because a weak family necessitates more government control. And I'm not even saying that it's the government, as in the United States government. That's not what I mean. What I mean is any uh, semblance of power or authority or someone that has a greater advantage over, because we know that there are people behind the government that actually control the government. The government is not an actual entity. I mean, excuse me, a sentient being. The government is in an, it's a fictional entity, right? Like a corporation, you know? And so it ain't doing nothing. The people that are in the government are the ones that are doing the stuff, right? The things that you like or dislike. Let's start having these conversations. All right. So I welcome your comments, whether they be with me or adverse to my position. Look forward to hearing from you. All right. We'll talk to you on the next upload. Thank you very much. We'll talk to you soon. Peace.